Now, the new year is a time that a lot of us sign up to gyms, and a number of us stop going for all sorts of reasons. But one Londoner, Peter Lloyd, quit his gym at the Kentish Town Sports Centre over the issue of women's only hours, which he said amounted to sexual discrimination. He sued the gym and the two parties settled out of court. Peter has since written a book called Stand By Your Manhood, and he joins me now. Peter, tell me, how did you come to sue the gym?
Well, quite simply because it was unfair. It was as simple as that. I've never heard of a business model where you pay for something you don't get. And if the genders were switched in this situation, then it would be a no-brainer. And that is no different because I'm a man. You know, it's 2015 now. I almost said 2014, but it's 2015 now. It's equality is a two-way thing, I'm afraid.
Were the women's only hours the times you wanted to use the gym?
Yeah, frequently. It was actually a real imposition sometimes, and not just for me, for a lot of other men. But one of the wider issues was the fact that it suggested I was somehow a predator or, you know, dangerous by default. And I found that really offensive, and I think that was one of the main driving forces behind it. So.
And you speak to some women, though, they do feel a bit uncomfortable around men in gyms. Did you have sympathy for that feeling?
Yeah, absolutely. And I was never actually against women hours per se. What I was against was the way it was structured as a business model. So I suggested that the gym perhaps keep a women's hour but charge men slightly less for the hours they can't use. And they rejected that on the basis that we should have this kind of Titanic era women and children first approach, which I just think is irrelevant now. I think part of equality is refusing to subsidise women because they're obviously capable of living their own lives independently. So the policy was unnecessary.
We spoke to Camden Council, who gave us a statement which said, the council is within its rights to run women's only sessions. Women feel excluded from sport and physical activity for a variety of reasons. Our women's only sessions are effective in increasing participation and improving health. We have a health and physical activity programme for the entire community, including services specifically for other groups, including just men, older people and disabled users. We make absolutely no apology for this. What's your reaction to that?
What a joke. I mean, you know, this is just all part of the malaise. You know, they are looking at the wrong end of the telescope here. People talk about how, you know, how women feel and, you know, women are oppressed and depressed and repressed. Actually, the reality is men die sooner than women. If gyms are having policies to improve health, they need to be targeting men and having men-only hours as a priority, not women-only hours.
We also sent one of our reporters up to the gym this morning to speak to local users, who I believe we're going to play you now.
I think this guy's being an entitled idiot. I think he's displaying a lack of understanding for the emotional and religious situation of a number of women. I think he's refusing to take that into account. I think the gym is actually being quite reasonable in terms of settling it out of court. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I completely support them having women-only hours, and also if there's a market for men-only classes or men-only hours, then that's okay as well. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, but I think that certainly women, for reasons of structural inequality, which this guy seems to completely have ignored, need safe spaces in ways that men don't necessarily.
Quite strong words from there. How do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, I just take it all with a pinch of salt. That's just kind of the typical knee-jerk response that you hear all the time. I have rights to be at a space that I pay for and have access to as much as she does. I'm no threat to her or anybody else. And quite frankly, women objectify men just as much as men can objectify women. And the most important thing is that people go there for themselves and their own health benefits, not as an excuse to objectify people.
This topic has got lots of people on Twitter talking to us as well. I've got some tweets on screen now. Ando says, I wouldn't call it sexist. It can be frustrating when you turn up and find out it's women only. Plenty of notice needed. Some women don't have a lot of confidence. They don't want to be stared at by men or get embarrassed. Sam Leonard has said, most men think they can score in a gym. Most women wouldn't bother looking. I must say, I've not ever gone to the gym with the intention of scoring, have you?
Well, you know, some of the sights I've seen in the gym, no, I definitely do not go there to score, and it's not a very classy place to try and attract somebody anyway. No, look, I mean, we're kind of losing sight of the argument here. We're talking about fairness and equality. If I'm paying for a service, I should be able to access it appropriately and just as much as women can. If the council want to have women hours, they can, but don't expect me or any other men to pay for them. It's as simple as that.